Welcome to today's on-series session, Overcoming the Barriers of a Near-Death Injury. The Office of Industrial Relations provides free education to stakeholders within the Workers' Compensation Scheme in Queensland to improve rehabilitation and return to work outcomes for businesses and workers.
Okay, just continue doing resuscitation, all right?
27, 28, 29, 30.
Okay.
Oh, where's up? Come on, boys.
So is somebody doing CPR on the patient?
I am with you, mate.
The ambulance are on their way. Are you doing CPR on the
Yeah,
patient?
mate, yeah, I'm putting
Okay.
you got a defib here.
You have a defib, that's good. Put on the defib.
Push shock button, clear.
Okay, make sure everyone is clear when you're going to do a defib, okay?
Hopefully.
As you can imagine, there are many barriers associated with Bruce's complex and serious injuries listed on your screen. Bruce's motivation to return to work is as real and genuine as it gets. As you hear his confidence in presenting improve throughout the next few minutes, so do his strategies and advice.
I found that I could no longer walk, ride my trike, drive a vehicle. They took all my licences and I could no longer work. I died at the scene of my accident. I died another 4 times while I was in the PA hospital from a blood clot that got loose and travelled up my leg and laid on my heart. The surgeon was surprised that I recovered from all of this. They shifted me from PA to Ipswich Base Hospital. While I was in the hospital, my wife came in every day to see me. She didn't have to, but she did. She didn't drive. She had her own problems with the back issue. My work gave her taxi vouchers to help her get to see me. Work cover also gave her vouchers to get there. She still used the bus, even though it might have been raining. Rehabilitation was done in the hospital for the first 12 weeks, then outside the hospital, but still under the supervision of the hospital. In hospital, you feel pretty down. You have lots of time to think. You think, self. There is no point being down. You have to do something. I figured I have all the licenses where I work, some the highest you can get. I said to work, how about I go as a trainer? So I worked on a certificate 4 with Trent Court, our work rehab and return to work coordinator, turned around and saw the boss and he said yes, go for it. It was a 12-month course that I did from home with the help of my wife and Trent Court in certificate 4 in training and assessment. We also had to learn how to use the computer, which at present time I know how to turn one on. I found that while I was doing my rehabilitation while in the hospital and while I was at after hospital care, that their goals not necessarily met with mine. The goals were like a rehabilitation box, and my injuries didn't allow me to fit in that box, but also challenging to complete. Each person needs to decide for themselves that they can do it more, and then they need to decide that they are going to do it. Communication was big. My wife and I would communicate directly with a few different people through my rehabilitation. I had a few people I needed to keep in touch with regularly. My wife helped me to keep in touch with the rest of the support network. If I was unable to contact these people, my wife would contact them for me. My children were all supportive. Trent is Maxcon Rehabilitation Return to Work Coordinator and also works at my workplace. Trent would call my wife while I was in hospital and call me once I was home from hospital to check how I was going. Dr. Peter Nelson was the work GP. He was very supportive in my recovery. Anything that I found that he thought I needed to do, I would do. He sent me where I needed to go. Judith Craig was the case manager from WorkCover, Queensland. She was brilliant. She made life easy. She kept me in contact with my wife and myself, MaxCon. I could call her and ask her anything, and she would help me where she could. She worked really hard to help me go throughout. She was a godsend. I found that in my work situation it was easy to see people and to talk to them. Even while I was in hospital, my workmates came in to see me. For some it was difficult, as they lived quite a distance, but they still came and saw me. It was good that work allowed people to visit me, and they also picked up my wife if passing. I was also informed that they had toolbox meetings and gave updates on my health. Work had an awards ceremony for the Queensland Ambulance Service for the 4 staff that saved my life. They invited me to a work barbecue. It was pretty good. They put on a barbecue, meet the people, after I came out of hospital. I was still in a wheelchair. They organised even for Judith Craig to turn up, and the paramedics and the communications person from the Gold Coast Ambulance Service. They all came around, and all 4 that saved my life were given an award. I found that after my accident, there were a lot of things that I couldn't do. But I said to myself, get off it. You got to do something. As I said, I'd already done a certificate for in training and assessing with the help of work. Work were very appreciative, and I was appreciative. And I just kept saying that I'm going back to work and I'm going to get there regardless. I have a life in front of me, and the people supported me, which is my wife and kids. Even though it's only my wife at home and my kids all look after themselves, but like all kids, they still need a helping hand. So you just got to go forward. No point looking back. My message to everyone else that gets injured: if you don't have a go, you'll never know.
Thanks, Bruce, for sharing your experiences and the practical strategies you implemented to ensure your successful return to work. I'd like to thank MaxCon Industries for supporting Bruce and helping to develop this webcast today. We encourage our viewers to send any questions or feedback about this session to our inbox wcr.education@oir.qld.gov.au. Thank you for listening.